The bottle slipped from my fingers, shattering against the hardwood floor of my Brooklyn apartment like a confession I could not take back. Celeste's laughter died mid-breath as shards of glass scattered, catching the dim light from the street lamp outside. And in that fractured moment, her eyes met mine, wide with something sharper than surprise. I whispered her name, my voice cracking like the wine pooling at our feet. And before I could stop myself, I leaned in, my lips brushing hers in a kiss that tasted of regret and everything we had buried for years. That night started ordinary enough. The kind of evening that sneaks up on you in the city, full of noise and half-formed plans. Celeste and I had been inseparable since freshman year at NYU. Two Midwestern transplants navigating the chaos of New York with equal parts awe and exhaustion. She was the steady one, the high school English teacher who quoted poetry over coffee and believed in second chances like they were currency. I was the dreamer, the graphic designer sketching logos for startups that promised the world but delivered deadlines instead. We shared everything, from thrift store finds to late-night rants about exes who never quite measured up. But there was always this undercurrent, a warmth in her glances that lingered too long, a brush of her hand against mine that sent sparks I dismissed as static from the dryer. It was a Thursday in early fall, leaves turning gold along the East River, and work had chewed me up. My latest client, some tech bro with a savior complex, had scrapped my entire branding package hours before launch. I texted Celeste from the subway, fingers flying over the screen, "Meet me at the dive on Bedford. Need to drown this day." She replied instantly with a thumbs-up emoji and a heart. Because that was her. Always there. No questions asked. The bar was the usual haze of neon and regret. Vinyl stools sticky under our elbows. The jukebox crooning Springsteen like it owed us something. We ordered whiskey sours. Double shots because why not? And she listened as I vented, her chin propped on her hand, those blue eyes steady as Lake Michigan back home. "Sylvia," she said finally, her voice soft against the murmur of strangers. "You're too good for their bullshit. You'll land something bigger." Her words wrapped around me like a blanket, and I felt the knot in my chest loosen. Just a little. 2 drinks in, the edges blurred, and we were laughing about the time we tried to backpack through the Adirondacks and ended up lost in a downpour, huddling under a tarp that smelled like wet dog. Her hand found my knee under the table, a casual anchor, but it stayed there, warm through my jeans, and I did not pull away. The whiskey burned sweet down my throat, loosening the guardrails I had built so carefully. "What if," I slurred, leaning closer, the scent of her lavender shampoo cutting through the stale air. "What if we're the ones holding back from everything?" She tilted her head, a strand of blonde hair falling across her cheek. And for a second, the bar faded. Just us in that booth, the world narrowing to the space between our breaths. "Holding back from what?" she asked. But her voice held a tremor, like she already knew. "From this," I said, gesturing vaguely at the air. "At us?" My heart pounding a rhythm I could not ignore anymore. The words tumbled out then, messy and true, about how her smile lit up my sketches on bad days. How I replayed our hugs in my mind like favorite songs. She listened, her fingers tightening on my knee. And when I finished, breathless and exposed, she sighed, a long exhale that carried the weight of years unspoken. "Sylvia," she murmured, her free hand cupping my cheek, thumb tracing the line of my jaw. "I've been waiting for you to say that." And then she kissed me, right there in the dim glow of the bar. Her lips soft and tentative at first, then deepening with a hunger that mirrored my own. The world tilted, cheers from a nearby table blending into white noise. And I kissed her back, tasting salt and possibility, my hands tangling in her hair as if letting go would unravel everything. We stumbled out into the night, arms linked, the cool air a slap against flushed skin. The streets of Williamsburg buzzed with Friday evaders, food trucks hawking tacos under string lights. But we barely noticed, our laughter echoing off brick walls as we wove toward my place. Her head rested on my shoulder, her breath warm against my neck. And every step felt like crossing a threshold I had not known was there. "This is crazy," I whispered. Half to her, half to the stars hidden behind city haze. But she just squeezed my arm, her voice a quiet anchor. "Crazy good. Maybe." My apartment was a third-floor walk-up, cluttered with mood boards and half-dead plants. The kind of space that screamed creative chaos. We kicked off our shoes in the hall, her Converse tumbling beside my boots. And I fumbled with the wine opener. Hands unsteady for more than the alcohol. The bottle was a cheap red from the corner bodega. But it poured like liquid courage, filling our glasses with a glug that broke the sudden silence. We settled on the couch, knees touching, the city humming beyond the fire escape window. Talk turned deeper then, the whiskey confessions spilling into wine-fueled truths. She spoke of her classroom. The kids who wrote essays about dreams deferred. How teaching felt like tending fragile flames. I admitted my fear of settling. Of designing someone else's vision when mine felt trapped in sketches under my bed. Her hand found mine again, lacing our fingers. And the touch sent a shiver up my spine. Electric and inevitable. You're not trapped, she said. Her eyes locking on mine. Not with me. The kiss that followed was slower. Deliberate. Her lips parting under mine as if we had rehearsed this 1,000 times in dreams we never shared. My glass tipped. Wine splashing across the floor in a dark stain. But neither of us cared. The bottle following suit in a crash that should have startled but only pulled us closer. Glass crunched underfoot as I tugged her toward the bedroom. Her laughter breathy against my collarbone. My name a sigh on her tongue. The door clicked shut behind us. The room bathed in the soft glow of a bedside lamp. Posters of indie bands curling at the edges on the walls. Clothes came off in a tangle. Jeans pooling at ankles. Shirts whispered to the floor. Her skin warm and freckled under my palms. We fell onto the bed. Sheets twisting like secrets finally freed. Her body arching into mine with a gasp that echoed my own. It was messy. Urgent. Hands exploring curves we had admired from afar. Lips tracing paths of fire down necks and collarbones. Her fingers threaded through my short hair. Pulling gently as I kissed the hollow of her throat. Tasting the salt of her pulse. Sylvia, she breathed. Her voice breaking on the edges of pleasure. And I lost myself in her. In the way she moved. Soft and sure. Our breaths sinking in the quiet dark. Afterward. We lay tangled. Sweat cooling on skin. Her head on my chest as the city skyline flickered through the blinds. My heart still raced. A drumbeat of what now? But her fingers traced lazy circles on my stomach. Grounding me. That was, she started. Then paused. A soft chuckle escaping. Unexpectedly perfect. I smiled into her hair. The weight of her against me feeling like home. But sleep claimed us before doubt could creep in. The world outside fading to a distant hum. Morning light filtered through the curtains. Painting stripes across the rumpled bed. And I woke to the scent of coffee brewing. Her side of the mattress still warm. Celeste stood in the kitchen. Barefoot in my oversized tee. Humming an old folk tune as she poured 2 mugs. Her hair caught the sun. Golden threads that made my chest ache with something tender and terrifying. Hey. You, she said. Handing me a cup. Her smile shy but real. Like dawn breaking after a storm. We sat at the tiny breakfast bar. Knees brushing again. The awkwardness I feared nowhere in sight. Instead, there was this easy rhythm. Questions about creamer and toast that felt profound. Last night, I ventured. Stirring sugar I did not need. It wasn't just the drinks. Was it? She set her mug down. Her hand covering mine. Steady as ever. No, she said simply. Her eyes holding mine with that quiet intensity. It was us. Finally. The day unfolded lazy and new. A walk through Prospect Park where geese honked overhead and joggers blurred past. We held hands without thinking. Her thumb stroking my knuckles. And I marveled at how natural it felt. Like slipping into a favorite sweater after years in ill-fitting coats. She pointed out a cluster of wild asters. Reciting a line from Whitman about love's wildness. And I laughed. Pulling her close for a kiss that tasted of maple leaves and promise. You're such a teacher, I teased. But my voice caught. Emotion swelling unexpected. By afternoon. Reality nudged in. Texts from work pinging my phone. Her mentioning a stack of papers waiting at home. But we lingered. Detouring to a bookstore on 7th Avenue. Shelves groaning with stories we browsed hand in hand. She slipped a volume of Auden into my bag. Whispering. For the parts of you that question, and I bought her a dog-eared copy of The Bell Jar. Because she understood the quiet fractures too. Dinner was takeout from the Thai place downstairs. Pad CEW steaming on paper plates. Chopsticks clacking as we traded bites and stories. The wine stain on the floor had dried to an abstract shape. And we toasted to stains that led somewhere good. Night fell soft, pulling us back to bed. This time slower, bodies learning each other in the hush of familiarity. Her sighs were music, my name a prayer on her lips. And as we drifted off, entwined, I thought this might be the start of something unbreakable. But life, as it does, had other plans. Monday morning hit like a freight train. My inbox a war zone of revisions. Her school bell ringing at dawn. We texted through the day, hearts and emojis. But by evening, exhaustion crept in. She canceled our planned movie night. Voice hoarse over the phone from a cold brewing. And I buried myself in Photoshop. Pixels blurring with worry. Just rest, I typed. Adding a kissy face. But the screen felt cold. Distance already a whisper. A week blurred by in that rhythm. Stolen lunches in crowded cafes. Her hand squeezing mine under the table before she rushed to lesson plans. I sketched her in stolen moments. Her profile sharp against subway windows. But doubt flickered. A shadow in the margins. Was this real? Or just the afterglow of one reckless night? Friends noticed. Teasing glances at our linked arms during a group hike in the Palisades. But their cheers felt like spotlights on something fragile. Then came the call that shattered the fragile peace. Her ex, Mark, the steady guy from college who had morphed into a banker with a corner office, showed up unannounced at her Queens apartment. He wants to talk, she said over speaker. Her voice tight as I paced my living room. The skyline mocking me with its indifference. About us. Or what was. Jealousy coiled hot in my gut. Irrational and raw. But I swallowed it. Offering calm words I did not feel. Go if you need to, I said. Though my chest ached. But come back to me after. She promised she would. Her goodbye kiss over the threshold lingering like a bruise. She returned hours later. Eyes red-rimmed. Collapsing onto my couch with a sigh that carried oceans. He thinks we're a phase, she whispered. Head in my lap as I stroked her hair. That this is just rebound from his leaving. The words hung heavy. And I felt them lodge in my throat. A mirror to my own fears. Is it? I asked. Voice barely above breath. Hating the vulnerability but needing the truth. Her head lifted. Eyes fierce through tears. No. God. No. Sylvia. He's safe. But you're everything. She kissed me then. Desperate and deep. Pulling me down to the cushions. Our bodies a tangle of need and reassurance. It was different this time. Edged with urgency. Her hands mapping me like territory to claim. My gasp swallowed in the curve of her neck. We moved to the bed. Shedding clothes and doubts. Her whispers fierce against my skin. Mine. You're mine, until release came in waves. Leaving us spent and certain. But certainty is fleeting in the city that never sleeps. The next weekend? We escaped to the Hudson Valley. A whim of a road trip in my beat-up Civic. Windows down to crisp autumn air scented with pine. The drive was therapy. Her playlist of Fleetwood Mac and Hozier filling the car. Our hands clasped over the gearshift. We hiked Breakneck Ridge. Breaths ragged on the steep climb. Pausing at overlooks where the river snaked silver below. At the summit, wind whipping our scarves. She turned to me. Cheeks flushed. This, she said. Gesturing to the vastness. This is what you make me feel. Infinite. I pulled her close. Kissing her with the wildness of the view. Hearts pounding in sync. That night? In a creaky B&B with quilts smelling of lavender. We made love by firelight. Slow and reverent. Her fingers tracing constellations on my back. Mornings brought pancakes sticky with syrup. Laughter over burnt edges. And for a moment, the world felt ours. Back in the city, cracks widened. My freelance gig exploded into overtime. Nights lost to screens. Her grating piling like snowdrifts. Arguments simmered. Small at first. Over cancelled dates. My irritability spilling into texts left unread. I'm trying, she said one evening. Voice strained over takeout lo mein. But it feels like you're slipping away. I reached for her hand. But she pulled back. Eyes shadowed. Or maybe I'm the one who doesn't fit your chaos. The words stung. Truth wrapped in hurt. And I retreated to the balcony. City lights blurring through unshed tears. She joined me after. Arms wrapping from behind. Chin on my shoulder. I'm scared, she admitted. Breath warm against my ear. That this was too fast. Too much. I turned. Cupping her face. thumbs brushing away a stray tear. Me too. But I don't want to stop. We promised to fight for it. Scheduling a weekend away. This time to the Berkshires, where hills rolled green and galleries dotted quaint towns. The drive was quieter, loaded with what-ifs. But arrival brought solace. A cabin with a porch swing overlooking meadows. We wandered art trails. Her hand in mine. Critiquing sculptures with inside jokes. Evenings were wine by the hearth. Stories of childhoods in Ohio and Illinois. The farms and fireflies that shaped us. One night, storm clouds gathered. Thunder rumbling like distant arguments. Rain lashed the windows as we lay in bed. Her head on my chest. Heartbeat a lullaby. What if we moved, she mused. Fingers toying with my necklace. Somewhere slower. Portland. Maybe. Or back west. The idea bloomed. Tentative and thrilling. A life beyond the grind. But reality intruded again. A call from her school. Budget cuts threatening her position. Panic edged her voice when she hung up. Pacing the cabin floor. I can't lose this, she said. It's who I am. I pulled her into my arms. But tension hummed. Her body rigid. That night? Sleep evaded. Doubts whispering in the dark. Returning to New York felt like defeat. Subways sardined. Horns blaring discord. We drifted into routines. Touches lingering but conversations clipped. A girls' night out with our old crew turned tense. When mutual friend Lisa cornered us in the bathroom. Eyes wide. So? You too? Finally. Her excitement clashed with our guarded smiles. And later. Over Cosmos. Celeste's laugh rang forced. Her hand slipping from mine under the table. The breaking point came mid-November. Gray skies mirroring my mood. I came home to find her packing a duffel. Face drawn. Space, she said. Voice cracking. Just a week. To think. My world tilted. Panic rising like bile. Think about what? Us? She nodded. Tears spilling. If this is real. Or if we're forcing it. The door closed soft behind her. Leaving silence that roared. Days blurred into ache. My apartment echoing with ghosts of her laughter. I sketched furiously. Her face emerging from charcoal smudges. But nothing filled the void. Calls went to voicemail. Texts to read receipts that mocked me. On impulse. I drove to her sister's in Connecticut. The throughway a ribbon of regret under sodium lights. Rain slicked the windshield as I pulled up to the colonial house. Lights warm in windows. She answered the door in sweats. Hair piled messy. Surprise softening to relief. Sylvia, she breathed. Stepping into my arms. Rain soaking us both. We stood there. Porch light haloing. Until she pulled back. Eyes searching. I missed you. God. So much. Inside. Tea steamed on the coffee table. Her sister tactfully absent. Words poured then. Fears of losing ourselves. Of love's weight bending us wrong. I don't want safe, I said. Hand in hers. I want you. Messy. Real you. She sighed. Deep and releasing. Leaning forehead to mine. Me too. But we need to build this slow. Together. We talked till dawn. Plans forming tentative. A joint application for a teaching fellowship in Seattle. My portfolio eyeing remote gigs. Morning brought clarity. Her kiss soft as sunlight filtering through lace curtains. We drove back south. Hands clasped over console. Radio low with Norah Jones crooning redemption. New York greeted us renewed. Skyline a promise rather than prison. That night? In my bed. We came together gentle. Rediscovering in whispers and sighs. Her body a map I knew by heart. I love you, she murmured against my skin. Words long withheld. And I echoed them. Tears mingling with laughter. Months unfolded like pages turned careful. Our lives weaving tighter. We sublet her place. Merging closets and coffee habits. Her books lining shelves beside my sketch pads. Summers brought road trips west. Canyons of Utah echoing our shouts of joy. Nights under stars where she read me poems by firelight. Winters were cocoa and blizzards. Bundled on the couch. Her grading papers as I freelanced logos that finally felt mine. One spring evening. In a rooftop garden overlooking the Hudson. Petals drifting on breeze. I knelt with a ring simple as our start. Silver band etched with asters. Celeste, I said. Voice steady despite the flutter. Be my unexpected. My always. Tears brimmed her eyes. Nod fervent. Her yes a vow that sealed us. Years later. In a Portland cottage with roses climbing trellises. We host dinners for friends who toast our story. The drunk night that led to forever. Kids from her classes write essays on love's quiet revolutions. And I design covers for queer anthologies that echo our truth. In quiet moments, her hand in mine, I remember the shatter of that bottle. The kiss that followed. And feel gratitude deep as roots. Life bends. Breaks. Mends. But love, the real kind, endures. Humanistic in its flaws. Romantic in its grace. The ring caught sunlight as Celeste twisted it on her finger. A habit now. During our morning walks through Forest Park. Portland's green lungs a far cry from Brooklyn's concrete pulse. It had been 2 years since that rooftop proposal. The city lights twinkling like conspirators below. And every day felt like unwrapping a gift we had earned through storms. She taught at a community college now. Literature that sparked debates on identity and belonging. Her passion undimmed. I freelanced from a sunlit studio. Clients across the globe appreciating designs infused with the heart I had rediscovered. But memory lingered. That first sober morning after the drunk night. When vulnerability hung thick as fog off the river. We had tiptoed around it for days. Kisses tentative. Conversations circling the what-ifs like wary birds. One evening. Over falafel wraps on a park bench. She broke the silence. Sylvia, she said. Wiping tahini from her lip. Eyes earnest. Last night wasn't a mistake. But are we? The question pierced. Raw and real. And I set my food down. Reaching for her hand across the wrapper-strewn table. No, I replied. Squeezing her fingers. Calluses from my pencils rough against her soft teacher palms. But it's scary. Friends to this. She nodded. A sigh escaping like steam from cooling tea. And leaned in. Forehead to mine. Scary good. Though. Let's take it day by day. That pact became our mantra. Small steps building bridges over the chasm of change. Diverse landscapes marked our growth. Escapes from the city's hum to places that mirrored our shifting souls. That summer. We flew to New Orleans. Jazz spilling from Bourbon Street doorways. Air thick with beignet and bewitchment. We wandered the Garden District. Oaks draped in Spanish moss like veils. Her arm linked in mine as we toured antebellum homes turned museums. Imagine us here, she whispered in a courtyard fountain spray. Magnolias blooming defiant. Ghosts of our own story. Laughter bubbled. But under it. A thread of truth. Our love a haunting we welcomed. Nights were alive with second lines. Brass bands parading joy. And we danced in the crowd. Sweat slicked and free. Her hips swaying against mine to rhythms primal. In our French Quarter balcony room. Overlooking gas lamps flickering. We made love with the windows open. City sounds a symphony to our sighs. Her body arched under mine. Fingers digging into shoulders. A gasp of my name lost in trumpet wails. Afterward. Tangled in damp sheets. She traced my spine. Voice husky. This is us. Wild and woven. I kissed her temple. Tasting salt and eternity. Sleep claiming us to dreams of bayous and forever. Fall brought challenges. Her sabbatical denied. My biggest client ghosting mid-project. Stress simmered. Dinners terse. Touches fleeting. One rainy Tuesday. I snapped over burnt toast. Words sharp as shattered glass. Why can't we just breathe? She recoiled. Eyes flashing hurt. Retreating to the study with a door click that echoed accusation. Hours later. She found me on the porch. Rain pattering on the awning. Mug cold in my hands. I'm sorry, I started. But she knelt before me. Hands on knees. Voice soft. Me too. We're human. Still. Flawed and fighting. We drove to the Oregon coast that weekend. Highway 101 curving along cliffs where waves crashed turquoise fury. Cannon Beach's haystack rock loomed. Tide pools teeming with stars. And we explored barefoot. Salt stinging cuts. Her laughter pulling me from my head. At Ecola State Park. Overlook windswept. She pulled a thermos of spiked cider. Toasting to storms past. Remember New Orleans? She asked. Leaning into me. Pacific vast below. Wildness wins. The kiss that followed was salt-kissed. Deepening as gulls wheeled overhead. Hands wandering under layers until we laughed. Breathless. promising more when sand met skin. Winter holidays tested us further. Families virtual across miles. Ohio inboxes of passive queries about when you'll settle down proper. Her mother's emails. Laced with scripture on paths divine. Pricked like thorns. And mine's voicemails. Gruff with worry over city temptations, added weight. We escaped to Asheville, North Carolina. Blue Ridge Mountains blanketed white. A cabin with a stone fireplace our refuge. Snow fell soft as we hiked craggy gardens. Boots crunching virgin powder. Her mittened hand warm in mine. This, she said at a rhododendron bald. Peaks rolling endless. This is our path. Evenings were mulled wine and board games. Her competitive streak sparking giggles. Losses forgotten in the fire's glow. One night. Blizzard howling. We slow danced in flannel pajamas. Her cheek on my shoulder to Coltrane vinyl crackling. The turn led to rug before the hearth. Clothes shed layer by layer. Her skin glowing ember gold. Touches were reverent. Lips mapping freckles like constellations. Her moans harmonizing with wind's wail. Climax came shared. Bodies shuddering in unison. Tears tracing temples as we held tight. I choose you, she whispered. Every season. Spring renewal mirrored our mending. A garden plot dug in the backyard. Tomatoes and basil pushing green from soil. We volunteered at a local LGBTQ center. Her facilitating writing workshops. Me designing flyers that drew crowds. Community wove us tighter. Stories shared over potlucks echoing our own. But shadows lingered. A health scare for her aunt pulling Celeste east. Weeks of worry etching lines around her eyes. I joined her in Cleveland. Airport hug fierce. Driving to the hospital through industrial sprawl. Waiting room smelled of antiseptic and anxiety. Her hand clammy in mine as monitors beeped. What if, she murmured. Head on my shoulder. We don't get forever? The fear gripped me too. But I tilted her chin. Eyes locking. Then we make every now count. Her aunt stabilized. A miracle of modern meds. And relief flooded. Tears cathartic. Back west. We planned deeper. A commitment ceremony under Portland's cherry blossoms. Friends and chosen family witnesses. Vows exchanged on a riverside dock. Her words poetic. Mine sketched heartfelt. Rings exchanged to cheers and rain mist. The reception was picnic style. Blankets on grass. Her first dance with me to our song. Bodies swaying close. Whispers of future kids. Maybe. Through fostering dreams. Life's tapestry continued. Threads of joy and jagged edges. A miscarriage scare from a casual talk of trying. But biology's cruelty halted. Left us grieving quiet. We traveled to Big Sur, California. Highway 1's twists mirroring heart's turns. Stopping at Pfeiffer Beach where purple sands whispered healing. Campfire nights. Her stories of constellations soothed. Making love under Milky Way. Her body a universe I orbited. Through it. Our love deepened. Humanistic in its honesty. Romantic in resilience. Drunk night long past. Bed's unexpected grace our foundation. We built a home not perfect. But profoundly ours. Seasons cycled. Portland's rains giving way to summers of farmers' markets and ferry rides to Sauvie Island. Where berry bushes bent heavy under sun. Celeste's laughter rang picking strawberries. Juice staining fingers red as promises. Her sundress fluttering in breeze off the Columbia. I captured her in watercolors. Strokes capturing the curve of her smile. The way light haloed her hair. Each piece a love letter framed on our walls. Work evolved too. Her tenure track secured. My studio partnering with nonprofits. Designs amplifying voices marginalized. Collaboration became us. Co-authoring a zine on queer narratives. Pages filled with her essays. My illustrations intertwining words and image. Launches at indie bookstores drew crowds. Her readings voice rising passionate. My arm around her waist grounding. Yet undercurrents stirred. Old insecurities surfacing like driftwood on the Willamette. A conference in San Francisco pulled her away. Panels on feminist lit buzzing with admirers. One colleague's flirtations lingering in post-drink texts she shared sheepish. Nothing, she insisted over FaceTime. City fog behind her. But it made me miss you fierce. Jealousy nipped. But I breathed through. Replying. Come home to me. Poet. Her return flight landed stormy. Our airport reunion kissed desperate. Hands clutching coats as thunder rolled. To reclaim. We weekend in the San Juan Islands. Ferry chugging past Orcas breaching. Landing on Lopez where bikes awaited. Trails wound through Madrona groves. Her bell tinkling ahead. Stopping at beaches where pebbles skipped on waves. Lunch was clam chowder in a driftwood shack. Spoons clinking as eyes held. "You're my anchor," she said. Wind tangling hair. And I kissed her salty lips. Pulling her to a secluded cove. Surf roared as we lay on a blanket. Touches urgent. Her gasps mingling with gull cries. Release crashing like tide. Fall painted the Cascades gold. And we backpacked the enchantments. Permits hard won. Packs heavy with tents and hope. Trails steep. Switchbacks testing lungs. But crests revealed alpine lakes mirror blue. Larches aflame. At Kalchuk. Stars wheeled overhead that night. Her body curled spooned in sleeping bag. Whispers of dreams shared. Morning mist lifted to her brewing coffee on a whisper-thin stove. Mugs steaming as we watched deer graze. "This wilderness," she murmured. Leaning into me. "Mirrors your heart. Vast. Untamed. Challenges mounted. A grant denial for her research. My burnout from back-to-back deadlines. Nights where sleep evaded. Her tossing beside me. Arguments flared. Voices raised over dishes. Silences thicker than fog. One dawn. After a particularly sharp exchange about divided time. I found her on the kitchen floor. Knees hugged. Tears silent. "I'm failing us," she choked. And my heart fractured. Dropping to hold her. "No. Love. We're learning." Healing came in micromoves. Therapy sessions virtual with a counselor versed in queer dynamics. Unpacking Midwestern upbringings laced with unspoken rules. Sessions unearthed buried shames. Her confession of high school crushes hidden. My sketches of girls torn and burned. Vulnerability bonded. Post-session walks hand in hand. Her squeeze saying more than words. Winter brought Yellowstone. Snowshoeing geysers steaming ethereal. Buffalo lumbering through drifts. Old Faithful erupted faithful. Her whoop echoing. Pulling me into snow angels. Flakes catching lashes. Lodge nights. Roaring fires. Her reading Neruda by lamplight. Verses of body and earth igniting slow dances. Bed was haven. Her fingers weaving through mine as we explored. Sighs snow muffled. Climax a quiet thunder. Spring renewal included adopting Luna. A rescue mutt with soulful eyes. Her wagging tail a daily joy. Walks became threesome. Park romps where Celeste tossed sticks. Me sketching the scene. Luna's puppy chaos mirrored our early days. Messes forgiven with love. Anniversary marked 5 years from that shattering bottle. We returned to New York. Airbnb in Williamsburg echoing ghosts. The dive bar stood. Jukebox same. And we ordered whiskey sours. Toasting in the booth. To unexpected beds, she quipped. Eyes sparkling. And laughter bubbled. Hands linking under table. Stroll to my old apartment. Now strangers within. Fire escape familiar. Her kiss against railing recreating sparks. Bed that night was pilgrimage. Bodies knowing every curve. Touches worshipful. Her name a litany on lips. Morning coffee brewed. Her and my tea. We wandered Brooklyn Bridge. Manhattan skyline greeting like old friend. Full circle, she said. Wind off East River. And I nodded. Arm around waist. Future bright as dawn. Life layered richer. Her book published. Essays on love's quiet rebellions. My illustrations gracing cover. Tours took us cross-country. Readings in Chicago cafes. Signings in Austin heat. Each stop. Hotel nights intimate. Her voice from podium pulling crowds. My pride swelling backstage. A health dip. My irregular heartbeat flagged at checkup. EKG wires cold. Her hand steady through weight. Diagnosis benign. Stress-induced. But scare-prompted Sabbath. A month unplugging in Mendocino. California. Cliffside cottage with ocean roar. Days blurred hiking headlands. Wildflowers nodding. Her wildflower crown adorning. Evenings yoga on deck. Poses sinking breaths. Followed by bath-scented eucalyptus. Her soaping my back. Whispers healing. Nights. Stars pricked velvet sky. We made love on linen sea-scented. Her mouth trailing fire. My fingers eliciting shudders. You're my rhythm, she gasped. And I held her through aftershocks. Heart sinking steady. Through variances. Our bond humanistic. Flawed beauties embraced. Drunk night's spark ignited enduring flame. Bed's surprise birthing profound partnership. Romantic in depths plumbed. Emotional in waves ridden. Years accrued like patina on silver. Our rings etching softened. But shine undimmed. Portland rooted us deep. Community garden plots yielding heirlooms. Neighbors sharing harvests and histories. Celeste mentored young writers. Her office door open to dreams deferred. While I taught workshops on visual storytelling. Sketches bridging silences. Travel remained tonic. A pilgrimage to the southwest. Sedona's red rocks vortexing energies. Her hand in mine on Devil's Bridge. Vertigo thrilling. Leap with me, she urged. Span airy below. And we crossed laughing. Hearts airborne. Evenings in adobe casitas. Sage smudging air. Her tarot readings playful. Cards foretelling abundance. Tensions ebbed flowed. A moved discussion surfacing. Her desire for coastal smaller town. My city pulse craving. Debates over dinner. Forks pausing mid-bite. Voices measured but edged. Roots don't mean stuck, I countered. Her nod reluctant. Compromising Cannon Beach weekends. Waves lapping decisions deferred. Luna aged graceful. Gray muzzle soft under scratches. Her naps by hearth are cue for quiet intimacies. Couch cuddles evolving touches. Her fingers unbuttoning slow. Sighs Luna's snores underscoring. Pleasure built languid. Her eyes locked fervent. Release a shared exhale. Afterglow stroked fur companionable. Family evolutions marked time. Her mother's visit thawing. Initial stiffness melting over pie. Questions tentative on your life together. My dad's barbecue invite. Grill smoke veiling awkward pride. His grunt approval in happy looks good. Weddings of friends. Our plus ones evolving speeches. Toasts to love's mosaic. A loss shadowed. Her father's passing quiet. Pancreatic thief. Hospital goodbyes her hand crushing mine. Funeral in Illinois. Cornfields whispering condolences. Her eulogy voice steady. Poems weaving grief gold. Return flight. Her head on shoulder. Tears silent. Homar Harbor. Nights held wordless. Her body seeking solace in mine. Lovemaking tender balm. Whispers stay anchoring. Healing in Hawaii. Big Island's volcanoes birthing land. Her out lava flows mirroring rebirth. Hikes through Naupaka blooms. Her lay garlanding neck. Ocean swims buoyant. Luau nights. Hula hip swaying. Her pull to dance floor. My join clumsy joyful. Bungalow beaches. Moonlit sands. Her silhouette siren. Drawing me to surf-kissed union. Waves caressing. Climax's title. Career peaks. Her TEDx talk on narrative power. Stage lights her glow. My front row tears proud. Viral reach. Invitations flooding. Our calendar dance balancing. My exhibit in Seattle. Canvases of us abstracted. Her opening toast muse eternal. Parenthood beckon soft. Fostering first a teen runaway. Jamal. Eyes wary melting trust. His stories late nights. Her guiding journals. My comics easing laughs. Integration chaotic. Grocery runs tripled. But joy in his diploma cheer. Our hugs triple. Another placement. Sister duo. Braids flying chaos. Garden forts our kingdom. Court dates tense. But permanency granted. Family forged. Morning's cacophony. Her pancakes flipped. My braids attempted fumbles. Nights. After bedtime tales. Our room's sanctuary. Touches starved. Her mouth urgent. Reclaiming in quiet frenzy. Gasps muffled pillows. Through multiplicities. Love's core humanistic. Emotions Dao Dong size pauses natural. Diverse Americas traversed. From Everglades kayaks alligator-eyed to Acadia shores lobster feasts. Each locale etching memories. Decades cusp. Vow renewal Kauai. Na Pali cliffs verdant witnesses. Her white sundress wind whispered. My linen suit casual. Vows updated. Scars honored. Futures voiced. Reception bonfire. Ukuleles strumming. Dances barefoot sand. Her sway against me timeless. Aging graced us. Silver threads in her blonde. My laugh lines mapping joys. Travels tempered. Road trips RV slow. Grand Canyon rims contemplative. Her hand veined wise in mine. Sunsets watched. Her head shoulder nestled. Still unexpected. Still best. Luna's passing gentle. Backyard under oak. Her final sigh are tears. Burial small. Stone-etched paw. Walks now echoes. But memories wag on. Grandkids eventual. Jamal's twins romping. Her story hours wrapped. My drawings framing mischief. Porch swings creak lullabies. Her voice frilier but fond. Twilight years. Assisted living overlooking Willamette. Rooms adjacent. Hands-linked corridors. Stories retold. Drunk night mythologized. Beds follow legend. Final dawn. Her breath falters. My vigil constant. Eyes meeting last. Love's depth conveyed wordless. Passing peaceful. My grief ocean vast. But gratitude swells. Life shared tapestry rich. Legacy endures. Her books dog-eared libraries. My art galleries quiet. Children carry sparks. Queer loves blooming defiant. Drunk night. Best friend found. Bed unexpected. Wove eternal. Humanistic echo lingering. Romantic flame eternal. In quiet. I whisper to wind. Thank you, excess aftertaste sweet. Life affirmed profound.